All right, today we're going to talk about weatherproofing your mini ramp. This is a 4x12 Keen Ramps mini ramp. It's located in Big Bear, California at an Airbnb property that I own called Chair 9 Chalet. I installed it about 2 years ago and have since done no weather maintenance. It needs a lot of stuff. We're probably not going to get into all the repairs today, but I just want to address why certain things have happened and how to prevent them and how to fix them. Because a lot of our customers are in different parts of the country, Midwest, East Coast, like all 50 states really, and we've even sold in Canada. And at the end of the day, the ramps that we sell are regular plywood. We do offer pressure treated as an upgrade, but a lot of times people just get regular wood. And we do recommend to coat your ramp with as much stuff as possible, whether it's a polyurethane or just any type of enamel, paint. Cover the wood.
I have a question that the audience is probably going to want to know.
Question.
Couldn't you just put a tarp over it?
You could do a tarp. The problem with tarps is they get holes so easy. There's always some water that still makes it.
There's always a leak, a gap somewhere.
There's always like places the water makes its way in. Over time, tarps, the sun a lot of times will wear them so thin that they become
Unwoven.
permeous, where the water can go through them. Some people don't like tarps because it can trap moisture underneath.
Oh,
imagine
true.
you have a big storm, the wind is blowing your tarp around, water is getting under it. Now the storm has settled and the tarp traps all that water.
The moisture won't evaporate.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
So definitely recommend them. Just if you do a tarp, make sure the edges are cinched down, you're weighing it down with blocks, you're covering the edges of your coping, because this is a spot where, you know, it's always going to be rubbing on, and then that's gonna wear thin right there. At the end of the day, we just highly recommend you paint your ramps with something. You can't use a polyurethane or a Thompson's water sealer on the surface because wheels are made out of urethane, so urethane on urethane is like ice skating pretty much. So no—
It's a death sentence.
Yeah, no water sealers on riding surface. However, water sealers are great for the sides, for the underlying plywood, and for all the 2x4s.
Okay.
It is monotonous, and it's annoying and labor intensive. You get your brand new mini ramp kit from us. I want to put it together and skate it. I don't want to roll polyurethane on every single 2x4.
Do you sell them weatherized?
We have, yeah. We don't openly say on the website, but there are times where customers bring it up and are like, what sort of things can you do ahead of time so I don't have to?
Yeah.
So we'll say we can do pressure treated lumber, we can do pressure treated floor frame, pressure treated ply on the deck, skate light on the deck, and then we can polyurethane both sides of your 3/8 plywood that goes underneath the skate light.
It's probably a lot cheaper to do it yourself though, huh?
Big time. I'm not proud of showing this ramp. Usually in our content, I want to show something that I want to sell or I'm proud of that we sold. This thing, it looks like dog shit.
Yeah, but that's because it's been weathered.
Yeah, it's like I said, built it 2 years ago, did nothing else. Just kind of forgot about it, went on with life. Yeah, at the end of the day, the ramp is fine, the structure is fine. It's nice that it has a little bit of airflow.
Yeah.
Because it's cut into this hillside. Like, we are tight here. Being tight here is not good. Having all this dirt pushed up against the side of the ramp that's happened from natural erosion is now just trapping moisture.
Okay.
So something I'm gonna wanna do is dig out a trench line to create some airflow back under it.
Got
So
it.
that airflow underneath is very important, which is another kind of word to the wise. Like, even if you're just putting a mini ramp on some old dirt or your previous lawn in the backyard, at least put it on some little 2-inch blocks or paver stones. Hike it up a little bit so the moisture can't get trapped under there.
Okay.
That's really important. Say this was someone else's ramp. They hit me up. They're like, ramp looks like shit. It's gotten beat by the weather. What would you do? What do you recommend? So for something like this, I would probably sand and reseal the skate light. I would probably just tighten up as many screws as I can, because over time with all the skating and the shifting, you will have some screws that'll kind of like wiggle their way out. Sink all those. Some of them are not gonna wanna spin their way back in, so you might wanna try a bigger diameter screw or a longer screw.
Oh, so kind of create a new hole.
That bites a new part of the 2x4. I'd probably recommend redoing these decks because anything that is flat is gonna take the bulk of the weather, right? So I'm actually happy about all this water sitting here. And I'm actually happy, like, see how this paint's flaking away?
Yeah.
So the paint flaking away at like face value may seem like a bad thing, but at the end of the day, paint never really sticks all that well on skate light. But the fact that it's so wet that it's making the paint flake away makes me happy, because that lets me know that the water is not absorbing into the ramp.
Right.
Water sitting on top of skate light is great. I love that. If it just rained and I see no water on my flat bottom, I'm like, fuck, everything underneath is wet and saturated and gonna get moldy and nasty. I remember when we had the guys install it, I told them to do, I wanna say 3 layers. We're gonna go 3 layers of a spar urethane on front and back of every single sheet. So they did that for all the plywood that's underneath this.
Oh, wow, okay.
So that's leading me to believe that it's working, because it's holding so much water on the flat,
right,
which I like.
The dims are really good on this ramp, by the way.
Yeah, this thing is great, super fun.
Like,
But
there's
yeah,
enough to grind. The radius is great. The flat bottom looks big enough.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I can tell that I would enjoy skating it, even though we don't have our boards today.
I know, I feel so dumb about that.
I know, me too.
I always have a skateboard on me.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not gonna skate this. We'll get into the deck tops a little bit. And then I'm just gonna kind of make a game plan for what I'm gonna do the next time I come here. I want this thing to dry out a little better, do a rain check there, and just come up with a game plan for maybe like 2 months from now. I'll come back and get it really dialed. Oh my gosh, dude. All right, wet skate light is another level of slick. So keep that in mind. If you say you live by the beach, you have a lot of like morning dew, or like when the sun's going down, and there's a lot of moisture in the air. As soon as that happens, your skate light ramp especially, is not skatable. I've been so spoiled my whole life, like living in Southern California and having good weather, but like pushing snow off my ramp right now, I'm like, yeah, I feel like a mountain man. I feel seasoned.
Well,
I'm pushing snow with a broom.
That's what I was going to say. You're not very mountain man using a broom to push snow.
It's the end of March.
And you have a t-shirt on.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm going to pull my Midwest card here and be like, you don't know what a real winter is like.
Look at me just pushing snow.
Big mountain man.
Yep. I'm getting really inspired up here. Just pushing snow around, sucking up the mountain air.
I'd help you, but, you know, someone needs to film.
Yeah. No, you got a job to do. Stay in your lane.
What's that for?
Tar paper. We're gonna get into tar.
Ah.
We're talking tar.
Ah.
I'm gonna use this little 4-foot area as a test site, if you will. I just wanna show some good practices you can do to prevent your ramp from weathering prematurely underneath the final layer. I'm gonna be using a drill, a staple gun, roofing tar paper, bar urethane, and some new skate light. All right, step 1, we're gonna take this nasty old piece of plywood off. Given that this mini ramp is gonna be exposed to snow, I should have not done regular plywood as the deck top. Should have done skate light. But I was antsy. The ramp was, like I said, it was already a kit sitting at the shop from that guy in Manhattan Beach, and we just threw it up here. Depending on the reveal, right? This is a little on the aggressive side. I'm hoping that I can flip this ply over, put down some new skate light. So it's a little on the shallow side for a reveal. What do you think?
Yeah.
Is that too shallow?
I think so.
So what I'm probably gonna do for like long term, probably gonna strip these another day. This is 3/4 inch ply.
Yeah.
And I'll get some 1/2 inch pressure treated ply, and then I'll put skate light, and then I'll have this same reveal.
Honestly, this coping reveal to me looks perfect.
It is. Okay. But yeah, let's get back into like what I would do here. All right, let's see what's in there.
Oh.
Actually better than I thought.
It's not that crazy.
The wood doesn't look too saturated. Nothing's too soggy. All those screws were still biting. I don't see any like rot at the bottom of the ply. Yeah, everything's good and healthy. Good looking 2x4. some saturation down at the bottom. But yeah, we're in good shape, brother. So step one, I'm gonna flip this because we
To the fresher side of the wood?
Yeah.
The cold side of the pillow?
Because this is all, you know, swelling and splintering up and looks like hell. It's getting beat. But the underside, I mean, it does have some signs of weathering and like a little bit of like mildewy stuff there. But, you know, once it gets hit with the sun a day or two, like that's all gonna dry out. If I was living up here and I had multiple days to do this, I'd probably just flip this, let it be, give it the couple days to really dry out. Then I'd hit it with like an orbital sander, get it nice and smooth. Then I would apply some spar urethane. Then I would put tar paper.
Like you would put tar paper in between the skate light and that?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and so this can also be applied to surfacing that's in the middle of your ramp.
Right.
Like I said, spar urethane coat front and back side of the 3/8 and the 3/4 that's in the middle of the floor frame, and then apply the roofing tar paper, then put skate light.
Okay.
When it comes to applying a protective coating on your underlying layer, whether it's a deck or it's a floor frame or the transition, spar urethane, polyurethane, epoxy garage floor paint, or just go in your garage and find whatever leftover paint there is. The more you do, the better. It's like I said, it's an underlying layer, so you know it doesn't matter if it's too slick. So just the more coats you put, the better. I like to use this stuff because it goes on the most plentiful. So with this, you're gonna use it very generously. So I usually won't even like pour it in one of those. I'll just kind of pour it on there, let it sit, soak. You don't even want to work it in too much. Like I'm barely putting any pressure because I want it nice and thick. Say you're doing this exact same thing to your ramp at home, 3/4 inch ply deck top. You are still skating up here, right? So that being said, in that zone, I would use it a little sparingly. But because the plan is to cover this with skate light, we're gonna go very plentiful. Another thing to keep in mind is the more you can cover the voided areas, the better. Right there, I've made a hole, right? So I'm gonna want to fill that hole as much as possible. So I'm gonna go real nice and thick in there. Let that fill up and try to seal that hole. Same thing with a joint, like this. I'm gonna go nice and thick on those joints. Okay, so you get the gist. Any wood that is exposed that you're not actively rolling your wheels on and skating on, go nice and thick with some type of urethane. All right, tar paper. This is a good one. So roofing, oh my God, the skate light's so slick. Roofing tar paper. You wanna make sure that it is in fact tar paper, because the area in Home Depot and Lowe's where they sell this, they also sell building paper, which is kind of like you ever seen that Tyvek stuff outside of a new development?
Yep.
And it's just to create like a water vapor barrier seal around the house before you put the siding on.
I know all about Tyvek.
Okay, good. Lumberyard guy, right?
Yep.
So this is actually like, you know, a little thicker than a 16th, and you smell it, and it really does smell like tar or asphalt. So you want to use this, and basically it's really easy to install. You just lay it out, get yourself a staple gun, preferably with some corrosion resistant or like Mylar staples, and you're just gonna, oh, I'm out of staples. Jesus.
So the staple would typically go into this and hold it to
I can
the
go
wood.
get staples in my truck.
I mean, we get it.
Okay.
Do they really need, you know what I mean? That's what
Yeah.
happens. Staple gun shoots staples, shoots it into the wood, holds the tar paper
So
down.
you would, for a 12-foot wide mini ramp, one roll will just about get it, but get two to play it safe, and then you can add it in more places and overlap it more. Say this was like my starting point, right? So I, boom, would apply staples every, let's say, 8, 10, 12 inches or so. And then same thing, kind of add them in the middle throughout, just to take all the bubbles and bows out. I'd run it all the way across, and then my next layer I would lap, right? I would just lap it a couple inches, and then I would cut away the excess, make sure I like it all, then put my skate light down right on top of this. Some is still gonna get through because you are penetrating a screw through the tar paper, through the ply. It's just one more measure to limit the amount of water that is soaking your plywood underneath. This does wonders, goes a really long way. So the combo of skate light with your spar urethane, with your tar paper, with some airflow underneath.
You're gonna get 400,000 miles out of this ramp.
For real. But yeah, let us know in the comments if you guys have any additional questions on weatherproofing a mini ramp. Just to bring it all back home, the main things: elevate it. Do not put it flat on the ground. Create some airflow underneath it. 2 is gonna be coat everything as much as possible with polyurethane, paint, Thompson's water sealer, something of the sort. Get skate light if you can afford it. I know it's a big price jump to go for it because it's like $205 a sheet. So a ramp like
But I mean, if you're already spending that much money on a mini ramp, you might as well get the upgrade so you can protect it.
It's definitely gonna protect your investment. It's gonna be the difference of your mini ramp lasting, let's say, 5 years versus 15 years.
Right.
You need to coat them with something. You need to take care of them. You need to do some maintenance. You know, go and tighten the screws every now and again. Make sure your coping's not loose. Tighten up your back caps. If you see something like splintering or messed up wood, give it a little sand, maybe some wood filler. Like anything else, you know, the more energy and time you put into it, the more you're gonna get out of it. I should drink my own Kool-Aid on this one because I'm a guy who owns a mini ramp or a skate ramp company, and my mini ramp looks like hell.
Yeah, but you don't live here year round.
I feel really embarrassed about it.
It's okay. We forgive you.
Just gonna keep sweeping. Hope you found this helpful, whether you're building your own ramp or you're trying to weatherproof one that you purchased from us. But yeah, we just want to be the one-stop shop for all things that are ramp. So please hit us up with any questions.